Chris, what is our fifth main topic today?
This one comes from Christopher Martinez. Hey, John and crew, love your show, by the way. I watch it every day. Thank you, Christopher. If the rumors are true, I heard that the Spider-Man director Jon Watts has quit the Fantastic Four movie. Maybe he didn't have as much freedom as he wanted? What are your thoughts, guys? And what now?
All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Christopher. Now, of course, this news came out just as the weekend was hitting, and so we haven't had a chance to address this yet. But for those of you who did not know, and for those of you who may remember, a couple of years ago during that big, famous Disney Investors Day call, that was really a big, basically virtual Comic-Con that they did, one of the things that Kevin Feige announced was that Fantastic Four is now in the works, and it's going to be directed by Spider-Man Now trilogy director Jon Watts, which was very, very exciting. Now, it was also a little bit of a surprise because, quite frankly, I really thought they were going to go with Peyton Reed. And I think Peyton Reed would have been an inspired choice for it. But my God, the job that Jon Watts has very quietly gone about doing for this franchise, Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. He just took each movie with all the pressure in the world and yet none of the pressure in the world, because even going into No Way Home, most people in the United States didn't even know his name. Like, they know a lot of the Marvel directors' names. With John Block, you ask people who directed Spider-Man, these Spider-Man movies, a lot of people probably had no idea. And yet, here we are. He did it, and he was great, and that was an inspired choice. And so now, as we've been getting closer and closer and closer, he's got the Spider-Man movies behind him now, getting ready to hear news about Fantastic Four. The news comes out that he has stepped away from the project, that he is no longer going to be a part of Fantastic Four. He's left it this late in the game, and they've given what I am calling right now a BS reason that I don't believe for 1 second is the actual reason he's not directing. This comes to us from the folks over at The Hollywood Reporter, and they write the following. They say this: making 3 Spider-Man films was an incredible and life-changing experience for me. I'm eternally grateful to have been a part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe for 7 years. I am hopeful that we'll work together again, and I can't wait to see the amazing vision for Fantastic Four brought to life, Watts said in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter. Kevin Feige, Marvel Studios president and co-president Louis D'Esposito, said in a statement, collaborating with John on the Spider-Man films has been a true pleasure. We were looking forward to continuing our work with him and bringing the Fantastic Four into the MCU, but understand and are supportive of his reasons for stepping away. We are optimistic that we will have the opportunity to work together again at some point down the road. Okay, so here's the basic gist of it. The basic gist is that Jon Watts has come out and basically saying, man, I need a break. Burnt out. Need a break. Been doing these superhero movies for the past 7 years, 3 films, 3 great films, and now I need a break. Okay. You know how naive you got to be to believe that? Do you know how naive you must be to believe that? Come on. First of all, if you're tired out, I need a break. You know what he's doing right now? He's making a movie with Brad Pitt and George Clooney. So don't tell me, but no, he specifically needed a break from comic book movies. Here's the thing. He had been working on comic book movies for a long time on that Spider-Man franchise when they announced that he was doing it. He was actually in the midst of heavy post-production when they announced that he was doing it. If he was going to be, oh, wow, I need a break from superhero, he would have known when they announced to the world that he was going to be the director for Fantastic Four. I don't believe and if it was really that, like, beat down from 3 movies in 6 years, to which The Rock says, that's adorable. But 3 movies in 7 years, whatever, then you'd think that he would be sitting on a beach sipping Mai Tais for the next number of months. But he's not. He's hard at work on another film right now. Look, I'm going to tell you without any insider information exactly what went down. This is exactly what went down. Totally speculation on my part, by the way. But I'm saying this is
Fantasyland. Here's the fairy tale we're gonna.
That's right. This is the tale we're gonna spin, but I'm sticking by it. I'm sticking by it. There's no way this statement is real or true. I mean, the statement is real, but it's not true. I'll tell you what happened. One of a couple things. What I actually think happened is this: is that in the past 2 years, I think, and probably within the last 6 months, I think Kevin Feige finally got John Krasinski to agree to direct Fantastic Four. Now, again, don't run with this as a story. This is me speculating, okay? Let's be clear about that. And I think he went to John Watts and said, dude, do me a solid. Do me a solid. I think we've got a lot of fans out there who are dying for Krasinski in here. Would you be cool if you step away from this one? I promise you, because remember, both of them are saying, oh, we can't wait to work together more in the future together. I believe that part is true. Because I believe he went to him and said, tell you what, do me a solid, step away from this one. Let's put out this crafted BS statement. Oh, tired. Oh, so sleepy. So many superhero movies. Let's put out some statement about that. And then I will give you a choice, juicy MCU movie down the road. I'll give you a real good one down the road if you'll do me this solid here. And so I believe what we're about to see here, as I believe we're going to hear pretty soon, it's either John Krasinski directing this thing, or a similar scenario happened with a Peyton Reed or another director. Because look, we've seen this happen before with Marvel, right? That a project is planned, years pass, Kevin Feige changes directions. It happened with Edgar Wright and Ant-Man. Edgar Wright had this Ant-Man movie written, was all ready to go. They had a plan for years, but as years passed, Kevin Feige's direction for the MCU changed, and now Edgar Wright's MCU version of Ant-Man no longer fit Kevin Feige's MCU. They decided to go in a different direction. I wouldn't doubt one bit if in the last couple of years, this Fantastic Four movie, which has still not been anything, they certainly haven't shot a day of anything, if they had another concept, another idea that would fit better into where their overall MCU. And by the way, I don't think it's coincidence that at CinemaCon, Kevin Feige is saying, I actually flew here from a creative retreat where we're kind of trying to map out the next 10 years. I don't think that's a coincidence. So I really think they came across a different idea, something they felt better about it, whether it's Krasinski, Peyton Reed, another director altogether. But I do believe the story when it says that everything's good, nobody's mad at each other, nobody hates each other. I believe that. But I just believe it's not just, oh, so sleepy, oh, so tired. So tired from so many Spider-Man movies. No, I don't believe that for a second. This is something else is in the background. And I think Watts is going to play around. And I think Watts is going to be given a big, juicy MCU movie down the road. We want to take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped. Now, guys, you know I love Manscaped. You've heard me go on and on about the Lawnmower 4.0 and that body wash. I love it so much. And so we got to ask, guys, have you started your spring cleaning yet? The carpets need cleaning, the drapes need dusting, and your lawn needs mowing, gentlemen. And you guys know Manscaped is more than just one product. They have a whole lineup of products to help you guys feeling, smelling, and looking your best. And so Manscaped is proud to present to you the Performance Package 4.0, which is the only tool that you need to keep your boys looking, smelling, and feeling good this spring. Now, to start off with, you get the Lawnmower 4.0. Guys, we have talked about this. What is wrong with us? Why have we for so long been using these terrible tools that were never meant for cutting our hair down there? The razor clipper things on our electric razors. That's barbaric, guys. You need the Lawnmower 4.0. And then there's the Weed Whacker. You guys have heard our own Ray Ora talk about this thing. He loves using it to get that hair in your nose and the ear hair. And then they offer lots of other stuff like the Crop Preserver. It's an anti-chafing ball deodorant and moisturizer. The Crop Reviver. It's a spray-on toner for your balls. And of course, they've got the perfect grooming tool for your face with the Plow 2.0, the perfect razor for the finest shave on that face. So guys, get 20% off plus free shipping with the code CAMPEA. That's CAMPEA at manscaped.com. That's 20% off and free shipping with the promo code CAMPEA at manscaped.com. It's time to throw out your old hygiene habits and upgrade your life. Anyway, Rob, you hear this story. What do you think about Watts stepping away? You disappointed about hearing about that? Where do you think they go now? What do you think about my theory? What do you think?
Well, you know, John Krasinski has shown with the A Quiet Place that he's a terrific director.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
And I think they might have gone to John Krasinski to obviously he's a fan favorite in the role of Reed Richards. People have talked to him. And I'll bet he said, listen, I don't want to necessarily commit to being a part of the MCU, especially because Reed Richards would probably have not only in Fantastic Four movies, but would appear in other Marvel movies. Some maybe sooner than later, you know, so that we will see him play that character. But I think he said, I don't really want to do that unless I was able to direct.
Direct.
And because that way, at least he is establishing himself as a director, which his bona fides are already there, man. I mean, Quiet Place is a really well-directed movie.
And I almost like Quiet Place 2 even more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think what he did in both of them was incredible.
Those movies are hits, and Kevin Feige has a penchant for taking directors, newly minted directors that know how to tell stories and put them up, you know, and I think that it makes sense. I mean, and I would imagine that, as I said, I would be expecting this announcement of Fantastic Four, the Fantastic Four movie. Let's say it's probably going to come Monday, a week from today, for various reasons.
I like that for various reasons.
For various reasons.
Chris, you hear about this whole thing. What do you think? Are we disappointed that John Watts, like, he did such a good job on those Spider-Man films? It would have been really neat to see what he's taken. There are other directors out there, though. What do you think about him stepping away, and where do you think that suggests we might be going?
I am disappointed, but I mean, I'm just going to sound like a broken record because I have the same theory as you guys of it's because we're getting Krasinski, who wants to do more than just act.
Right.
And yeah, the Quiet Place films are incredible. And it also makes me hope that John is then helping write these films because he's an incredible storyteller. So I really, really am on the same page as y'all. I think that this franchise is still going to be in good hands. I think Feige knows what he's doing too. And
You think?
Right? Call me
That
crazy.
Kevin.
Call me crazy.
I hear
but
that,
I believe
Kevin.
in that Kevin.
Kid's got a future.
I think Kevin Feige
that
might
Kevin
keep
Feige
working.
kid, he's got a future.
It was so nice to hear him talk about going off to his retreat to get things done. And I'm sure this is one of the things that they were getting sorted out. So I feel good about everything that's happening here.
But what does it say to us right now? Like, I brought up the idea that we have seen before. Look, Marvel has been incredibly consistent, right? They haven't waved in the wind and been overreactionary to things like Warner Brothers with DC has been in the past. They've been pretty rock solid with the odd little thing there, like the Edgar Wright swapping out. Joaquin Phoenix was going to be Doctor Strange. That ultimately didn't pan out. But other than that, over 20 plus movies, very, very rare of these stories that you hear about anything like that. Do you think it could be possible that a change in director here could maybe reflect a change in direction in the MCU as a whole, and therefore the Fantastic Four movie they were going to make no longer is in line with it? Or do you think it just could be a Krasinski thing or another director thing? What do you think?
No, I think it is a Krasinski thing. I think it is only because has there ever been an actor other than maybe Patrick Stewart as Professor X?
I was going to say, or Pierce Brosnan as James Bond.
Yeah, that more people have wanted to see in a role. I mean, my God, Krasinski is the perfect Reed Richards. And you look at him playing Jack Ryan in the Jack Ryan's Amazon series. I mean, the guy's great.
Yeah, I love him in that
he's
show.
physical. He's got gravitas, but he's also human and funny, and he's just terrific. And I think that they have an opportunity. Kevin Feige's no dummy. And this, by the way, is something that has been in the works for a while, and it's been going on, like you said. This is not something that just came up, and I think probably that John Watts. You think they're not going to bring back for another Spider-Man movie? Of course they will. So he's got that franchise if he wants it, and then another. I mean, there's got to be a dozen Marvel character movies that they haven't even announced that would be a director would love to tackle them. But Krasinski, dude. He's got him over a barrel. He's like, I'll be Reed Richards if I can direct. And I think it's a good choice. I think it's an exciting choice. People will go, yes. I mean, they'll clap. There's no downside for them at all. It's only upside.
Now you could say Krasinski's never directed anything on this scale before.
Yeah, but neither James Gunn did either.
That's it exactly, because the James Gunn situation is exactly the situation I was going to bring up, because you got to remember when they selected James Gunn to direct Guardians of the Galaxy, and we had Kevin Feige and James Gunn and Chris Pratt in studio with me, and I asked Kevin Feige directly. I said, hey, listen, I love James Gunn because Slither is like one of my favorite movies. I love James Gunn, but I mean, what made you pick James Gunn to direct a Guardians of the Galaxy when he's never done anything on this scale like this? And I've repeated this many times. It's one of the smartest things I think I've ever heard Kevin Feige say, and he said a lot of them, which he just said, because a good storyteller is a good storyteller regardless of the budget. A good storyteller is a good storyteller regardless of the budget. And if Kevin Feige looks at John Krasinski, who admittedly has never done anything like a Fantastic Four or anything like that, if he looks at John Krasinski and says, that guy knows how to tell a story, sometimes even without dialogue in most of your movie, like he does in A Quiet Place, that guy can tell a Fantastic Four story.
And also, both James Gunn, even though it was at a lower budget level, they worked with effects. You know, there's a lot of directors that haven't worked in using any kind of special effects. Both the Quiet Place movies and Slither had visual effects, had creature effects, CG effects, and practical effects. So they're not directors like James Gunn, but Krasinski's not a director who's going to shy away from, I don't really know how to use effects well. He knows. So he's a perfect candidate to direct a Fantastic Four movie.
Again, we want to be very, very clear here. We don't know that John Krasinski's directing the Fantastic Four. This is speculation on all of our parts complete. For all we know, Jason Sudeikis is serving, court papers to have Olivia Wilde direct Fantastic Four. I mean, for all we know, could be, but I mean, it could be anybody or anything.
I had a question. Does this involve Sony in any way? This
No.
Fantastic. See, that's another factor where the Spider-Man films, they were like sort of collaborating with Marvel and stuff.
That's true.
Maybe
too.
John Watts had more creative. What do you call it?
Yep, creative control and input.
Now this is like a Marvel thing. Maybe Kevin Feige is like really straightforward on what he wants, and John Watts is like, maybe I don't feel like I'm really directing if this is the way it's goes.
I don't think you're crazy to bring that up at all. As a matter of fact, that is a thought that went through my head too. The only thing, so what Ray's basically saying is like, making the Spider-Man films under Sony and Marvel was one experience. Could it be that John Watts is discovering that just trying to work under just Marvel is not the same experience? Possible. That is possible.
But then it brings up the question: if it is Krasinski, then why would he take the
Well, I mean,
spot if it's that way?
I mean,
Unless
why has every Marvel director taken their jobs, right? So
Right.
The one reason I would say that I don't think that that's it is because I think Kevin Feige is a communicator. And I think when he got John Watts to agree to direct Fantastic Four in the first place, I 100% believe he would have sat down with him and say, okay, look, but here's the deal. These are the things you can do in this movie. These are the things you can't do in this movie. As long as you stay in this playground, you can do whatever you want, but just don't go outside, like he does with all of his directors. But I mean, yeah, it could have been, but they were so enthusiastic about saying, but we still want to work together in the future. And I actually believe them when they say that.
I will say this from what I know about Kevin Feige, which is not a lot, but from what I know, when it comes to maybe the actual movies and stuff like that, he may swerve people with what he says, but on the business side of casting and directors, he's always been straightforward in telling us this guy's going to play this guy's going to direct this. I don't think something like hiding or whatever, like the Krasinski thing, we would already heard about things coming out that he's a part of this movie. I don't know. I'm just kind of skeptical about
Well,
the
listen,
Krasinski
there have
thing.
been rumors and everything about John Krasinski being a part of this for years.
Yeah.
Like a lot of it, some of it's in plain sight. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Question is for you guys.
A week from Monday, John. A week from today, we're going to find out the
This
answer.
movie's about to blow up if they announce
I
it.
think we're gonna. I think we're gonna get a name on
There's a
this real
specific
soon.
reason for that, but I won't get into that.
Question is for you guys. What do you think about this whole thing about John Watts stepping away? Why do you think? Maybe you believe the press release, the statement, the official statement they put out. Hey, cool if you do. I don't believe it for a second. What else could be the reasons? Could it be John Krasinski? Could it be, a return to somebody like Peyton Reed? Could it be another director altogether? Whatever you guys think, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.